Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, how are we?
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, Skip?
Is your man LeBron ever in trouble now on Christmas Day with America watching? He has to deal with the best player on the planet, with Captain America, with Mr. Gold Medal, with Kevin bleeping Durant.
Guess what he go over for Christmas?
What?
Yeah, you already know.
A turnover?
No. A butt cut. That's what KD go open up for Christmas.
Oh, so you're predicting a butt cutting.
Yeah.
So Shannon Sharpe.
5 cases right now. If you
5
feel
cases?
Jump on it.
Do I get the point and a half?
You get nothing.
Oh, I get nothing? Okay, we'll
5
talk about it in a
cases.
minute.
Already riled up about LeBron. All right, I'm sure we will get to him. I promise you that. But we're not done talking about Tebow, because yesterday, the Tim Tebow experiment in Jacksonville, it came to an end. The Jaguars released the tight end hopeful after just one preseason game, and head coach Urban Meyer was very upfront with the media about how he felt about Tebow and why they ultimately had to release him. Take a listen.
We knew that was an uphill battle for Tim, and players loved him, locker room loved him, but it was the right thing. Elite warrior, elite competitor, but he's also 34 years old. Tight end position is one of those, and tailback, if you can't contribute on special teams, that's a tough go.
All right, Shannon, now that you've had a day to process, why do you think Urban cut Tebow so quickly?
I mean, is that what you and I talked about yesterday, what Urban was talking about? Like, when you're the third or fourth tight end, or you're the fourth or fifth receiver, or fourth or fifth DB, you got to play special teams. Skip,
how many snaps did he play specials?
None.
How about none?
None.
16 snaps on offense, 0 special teams.
0 special teams.
Well, how do you...
It's normally the other way around
I'd say.
when you're the fourth tight end. But
yes.
we digress to that, Skip. What it tells me, when a player normally gets released in the first cut, it tells me, son, you probably need to think of a new line of profession.
Well,
that means you're not close. Because normally, Skip, the longer they keep you on the roster, the more they want to take a look at you to make sure. I was talking to Steve this morning, Skip, and I remember my rookie.
Steve is?
My guy, Steve Owens, who does my part.
Okay.
Yeah, my research guy. And we were talking about, I said, Steve, if I'm not mistaken, we played 5 preseason games. And I was going through and naming them off, and he was like, how do you know all this? The only thing I was off on, we played the Phoenix Cardinals. We played them on a Friday.
You probably know every stat of your own in every preseason game.
I was like, we played Seattle in Japan. We played San Francisco on a Monday night. We played Indy in Indy. We played Miami in Miami. Skip, I was just going.
Okay, when I was a little kid, the Cowboys played 6 preseason games. Go ahead.
Yeah,
okay.
And so, Skip, I'm saying to myself, and you as a 7th round draft pick, even though I played a little bit of offense, I was on all the special teams. So on 4th down, Skip, if we didn't get the first down, guess what? Shannon ran out to be a gunner.
Absolutely.
On punt return, guess who ran on the field?
Okay.
Shannon ran out on the field.
All right.
So I'm saying to myself, and we got 5 preseason games. Okay, I didn't get cut the first cut. I didn't get cut the second cut.
Okay.
Now, I was on the board to get cut the 5th and final game.
Okay.
But here's the thing, Skip. Normally, when they're going to release a player, they don't let him play because they don't want you to get hurt and have to be on their dime.
Okay.
So that they put me in there, so I guess they were trying to tell me something. Let me see if he made it.
Okay.
Skip, it was just hard. I fought Urban. No, I fought Tim Tebow. Because Tim Tebow went to Urban and asked him for this opportunity. When did Urban realize Tim Tebow was 34? When did Urban realize Tim Tebow had never tackled and wasn't going to be able to learn to tackle? When did Urban Meyer realize that Tim Tebow had never played the position of tight end? And you want to try to make the NFL as a tight end when you had never played the position and you hadn't played an NFL game in 9 years. So there's enough blame to go around. But Tim Tebow asked for this opportunity. He asked for an opportunity. Had he been someone else, he would have never been afforded. Urban afforded him this opportunity, knowing damn well Tim Tebow was not going to be able to make the team, especially if he couldn't play special teams. What good is the fourth? Skip, he's never going to be active if he can't play special teams. So the 4th tight end, first of all, you're not even keeping 4 tight ends. You're keeping 3. Because, Skip, you know how it is now. When you were covering the game and I was playing the game, everybody kept 3 quarterbacks.
They did.
And 3 quarterbacks were active. Now most teams go on game day with 2 active quarterbacks because the positions is so valuable. You might need that 6 DB. You might need that extra offensive lineman. So for me, Skip, there's enough blame to go around. But what Urban told me is that releasing Tim the first cut is that he wasn't close, guys. And he realized it was an uphill. Uphill? It was Mount Everest. And you knew that. But he throws out all these things. Well, he is 34. And, tackling was going to be an issue. And, blocking. Okay, you knew all that before you gave him this opportunity. So I'm not surprised that this happened, Skip. But him being cut, the first cut, going from 90 to 85, lets you know Tim Tebow wasn't even close.
And remember, he was the only tight end cut.
Right.
So when we talked yesterday about how he was tied for 4th with 2 other players on the depth chart.
Correct.
So he was clearly the 7th tight end on the depth chart because 6 remain on the team as it's cut down to 85. And so let's be clear about this. He was the 7th tight end of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Go ahead.
And Urban didn't want to list him as the 7th tight end. So, look, there'll be 3 guys tied at 4th.
Okay. You finished?
I'm finished.
Okay. I'm going to start. After I slept on this, after I did some more homework on this, we got hit with this bombshell out of nowhere.
Middle of the show.
Yeah, it was a little early in the show, but we were scrambling the whole show yesterday. And it was a little hard for me to process exactly what was happening. The more I think about this, the stranger it gets, because none of it makes any sense to me. And I want to, up front, make it very clear, I'm a big fan of Urban Meyer, and I believe he's going to do not good. I think he'll do great. I think he will be Jimmy Johnson-esque as a college to pro head coach. You're going to have to give him a little bit of time, just the way we had to give Jimmy a little bit of time, but he will succeed in professional football. I was a fan of Tebow, as you know, going back to 2011. I don't know him personally, but I was a fan of his ability to play make. It was rare to me. I've never seen anything quite like it, and it started the night he beat my Oklahoma Sooners in the national championship game, and then when I saw that halftime speech, maybe we'll show some of it a little bit later when we talk about that run that he had in 2011, but the clutch playmaking, I'd never seen anything like it. It was a force of competitive nature. So, again, my thought going into this was, nobody knows nobody knows Tebow better than Urban Meyer. So clearly, I thought he has a grand plan for this. He has a design whereby he'll try to sell Tebow as a tight end almost as a charade, because they will have a package of Tebow gadget type plays where he'll be a wildcat quarterback. He might throw a jump pass. He might convert an occasional 3rd and 1, because all he did for your Denver Broncos in 2011, and we're going to get into gory detail about this, was convert 3rd downs and score touchdowns. That's how they went on their magical run and won 7 out of 8 games after they were 1-4, and they won the AFC West. So I thought, well, nobody knows this better than Urban, so surely that's the direction he's going with Tim Tebow. Well, so talked to a source last night who's very close to Tebow and knows Urban also and is in the loop of this. And the source told me that Tim was blindsided by this because he thought he was going to get a little bit more run to show that he could do some of the things necessary to make the roster. Because this was, as you just said, this was the first cut. This wasn't the middle or the last cut. This was the first one. That Tebow was blindsided and a little stung by this, because the source considered this by Urban a little bit cold-blooded, because they thought, hey, if you're going to give him a chance, you got to give him a little deeper run into the preseason before you whack him. And it came out of nowhere, and Tebow was reeling over this because he felt like he didn't get enough opportunity to show. Like, if publicly you say, well, it comes down to special teams, and as Urban said yesterday, special teams are about tackling, and if you're not able to tackle, well, did he get an attempt to tackle? Do I think Tim can tackle? I don't know. I don't really care, because I didn't think that was the point in the first place, right? Okay, and then Urban talked earlier in camp about how in individual drills he could catch the ball just fine, but in team drills, when you're competitive, when you're fighting for the football, he's body catching everything. And so when you're fighting a DB or safety for the football, you have to hand catch it, because you're going to have to take it away from people when it's contested, right? And Urban's saying, well, he's not smooth with that. Well, it's because he's never done it before. Tim Tebow, in his college career and his professional career, has never caught a single pass in his life.
Right.
Okay, help me out. I mean, some quarterbacks occasionally catch passes.
Right.
You know, they might
when
have...
you see him throw, Skip, they run the pitch to run it back.
Or whatever,
and then, Nick Foles catch it.
Okay,
Tom Brady caught one.
Tom Brady caught one, but Tim has never even caught a single one.
Right.
So what are we doing here? So now I hark back to how Urban said this whole thing unfolded. And remember, we talked about, well, they're now neighbors. Reportedly, they lived on the same block, a couple doors down from each other.
2 doors, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure how close they really were about all this. I don't know how much conversation there was, because when Urban did the Chris Collinsworth podcast before camp started, remember this? Mm-hmm. He told Chris that, and I thought he was just sort of laying it on thick, but he said that, yeah, we agreed to let Tim come in and work out with our coaches. Well, he didn't go to the first 2 Tim workouts in Jacksonville. Again, it's Tim's hometown.
Right.
But Urban said, I didn't even attend the first 2 workouts, and I thought he was trying to undercut any sort of nepotism, because he's like a father to Tim Tebow, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, the third workout I attended, and the coaches kept raving about Tebow because they said he's in the greatest shape of his life.
Right.
Well, that's fine, but that doesn't qualify you to play tight end in the National Football League.
Right.
Okay. So Urban said, after the third workout, the coaches were raving about Tebow, and he said, you guys don't understand. This is the quote. He said, he's the most competitive maniac you're ever going to talk to.
Right.
Let's give it a shot, said Urban Meyer.
Right.
Well, clearly, I thought, Urban knowing Tebow the way he did, that they would give it a shot as more of a gadget quarterback, but they would sell it as number 85, a tight end. Well, I was with you from the start. If he's going to be a tight end, this is a joke.
Right.
Like, this is impossible. I don't care how bad the Jacksonville tight ends are. They're going to be better than 34-year-old Tim Tebow.
Correct.
So why would you even try it? Why would you subject Tim Tebow to the humiliation of getting cut? Because I know Urban has nothing but admiration for what Tebow achieved at Florida and even for the year at Denver,
That is correct.
And why would you subject your quote-unquote son to this kind of shame, this public shame, where you have to whack him in the first cut, and you have to dismiss him as can't catch, can't tackle. What am I supposed to do? This is the right thing to do. Right. Well, the source also told me last night that Urban did succumb to the public pressure that he, you know, the internet age is a little different even than when Urban was at Ohio State, right?
Florida,
especially at Florida, but it's just exploding.
Yes.
And that this is just the source's point of view, that Urban succumbed to it, not only the outside pressure, but the potential locker room pressure, because you were the first to say yesterday and other days, hey, there are going to be veterans on the team saying, he can't play tight end. What are we doing? And Urban, obviously, as a rookie head coach in the National Football League, has some credibility at stake where, well, you can't hold on to your son much longer, because it's clear that in the game, it wasn't like he took the game over as a tight end. I didn't think it was a whiff on the block on the first one that Curtis Weaver blocked. The second one that you showed, he just seemed lost to me.
But Skip, you've been around the game long enough, and you know what most coaches have a very good sense, a pulse of their locker room. Urban knew once they saw, because not a lot of people saw that in the game. Skip, there are times that things happen in the game that you don't even really know, and then when you get back and look at the film, you're like, damn, did you even try to block him? Or
I don't think the head coach can know until he really looks hard at it.
The head coach and players. Because, Skip, you know, if you're on the sideline, you're not looking at everybody. You know, sometimes you're like...
Plus, you don't have much of a view of it.
Sometimes, Skip, we would go in there like, hey, such and such was playing good in practice. Man, let's see what he do. So I gather all the guys around. Let's look at him on defense, or let's look at him on offense. And you can see something like that. So I don't know how many people, man, let's see if Tim Tebow go, let's see if Tim going to get this block. But the source is absolutely right, Skip. When we see things that, like, ain't no way he gonna make it, and then he survived, like, okay, well, who does he got pictures on? So he got pictures with somebody with a goat, because that's what starts going on in our head. And I, Skip, you thought he was going to be a gadget guy. I said, well, Skip, why not just list him as a quarterback and let him run gadgets?
Could have. Absolutely.
Why say put him at a tight end, try to get him to do things? I said, Skip, he's never caught a ball, especially in traffic. He's never blocked anybody. There are nuances to that position. And Yeah, I was offended that Tim Tebow think he could be away from a game for 9 years and come in and play that position.
Because you're a Hall of Fame tight end. You should be offended.
Yes.
Okay, if you had been the head coach and I said, Shannon, you have to have Tim Tebow on this roster, what would you have said? Well, I could use him how?
Right.
Well, there's only a couple of ways you could use him as an H-back because he was a touchdown machine for the Broncos and he was a third down, first down machine, you know?
I'm going to play him at a position that he's played.
Yeah.
Look, Tim, you might not get very many reps, but on third down, 31 or fourth and short or the goal line, I'll use you at that. I'm not going to put him in a situation, Skip, where I know he can't succeed. And then when he doesn't succeed, like, well, that's the right thing to do. Well, the right thing to do was not even give him this opportunity because you put him in a situation where you knew he couldn't succeed.
Right. And to me, ultimately, that's on Urban to protect his son from shame, right? Wouldn't you just tell him, Tim, this is just a bad idea.
Right.
You can't do this at 34.
Right.
And Urban's conclusion yesterday, as we just saw, and he's 34 years old. Well, you knew that going in.
What the hell? Did he turn 34 on Saturday? You knew he was 33. You knew he hadn't played since he was in his mid-20s.
Okay.
And now you bring him on and talk about and he said it like very matter of fact. And I'm like, well, bruh, everything that you're saying, you knew before you gave him this opportunity. You knew this, Skip.
Okay.
Special teams requires a different mindset. And as guys start to graduate, Skip, Anthony Lynn, good friend of mine. He was the head coach out here at the Chargers.
Well, you played with him.
Yes. Now he's the OC at Detroit. Skip, in 1993, Richard Smith, who's the linebackers coach now for the Vegas Raiders, he was my special teams coach. We're in special teams meeting. We're sitting there watching. He running just a kick return. I said, Rich, you want to lead the league in kickoff returns? He stopped the tape. He says, that's what I'm talking about. My all-pro tight end wants to lead the league in kickoff returns. I said, if you want to lead the league in kickoff returns, you need to take me off it, because my man going to make the tackle every time. Hey, Lynn, you up. Hey, Lynn made the team.
Because he was a player.
Yeah,
so you just said that's more what he can do.
That's what he can do, because Lynn wasn't getting a whole lot of running back.
I got it.
This was going to be his opportunity to make the team. I was done with special teams at that point in time. I had done it, Skip. I had starting in 92, but I was still playing all the special teams.
Okay.
I was the left guard on the kick return. I was an L3 on the kickoff team. I was like, nah, bro, I'm done with this. Let somebody else. This is an opportunity for someone else to get an opportunity to play.
Okay.
But Tim had never done that.
He's never done that.
Had at least played special teams, at least had done some of the things that he was going to be asked to do. Skip, you can't ask a man. This is the highest level. You can't take a guy that doesn't do any journalism and never written a paper, never written anything, and say, you know what, I want you to be the editor of the Washington Post. I want you to be the editor of the New York Times. What? You set me up for failure. You know I've never done anything like this before. Well, you know Tebow was 34. You know he's never tackled anybody, run down there on kickoff, or punt, and tackle somebody. You know he's never blocked anybody at the point of contact. And then you're going to talk about, well, he's 34 and tackling and Skip. And that's what I tell guys. I say, I've seen guys that have actually played tight end, have actually played wide receiver, do all the spectacular catches with shorts and T-shirts. Okay. And the minute you put that helmet and shoulder pads on them, they act like they ain't never seen a football before. The ball hit them all upside the head. It's a different animal when the bullets, pardon the expression, when the bullets start flying, Skip. You know that. You've seen it happen.
I have. And when Urban mentioned that you have to be able to tackle to be on special teams, where that lost me was, well, why wouldn't you have at least given Tebow a shot on Saturday night? Just throw him in there. Put him on punt cover, but kickoff coverage. Just see what happens.
And so you, Skip, remember when we first had this conversation with Skip, is he going to play special teams? Is he going to be on kickoff, a kick return, punt return? I said, is he going to play? Because I don't believe that he can just make the team just on ability of catching the football and blocking, because he's never done it. So you're asking him to do something. But Skip, I put a lot of this is on Tebow, because Tebow is arrogant enough to think he was talented enough to be able to just drop down something and do something else, and at the highest level. Well, you know what? I can't play quarterback, but you know what I'm gonna do? I ain't played baseball in a decade. I'm gonna go try to make the majors. Well, you know what? I hadn't played football in almost a decade. I'm gonna go. Not only am I not gonna play the position that I actually got drafted as a #1 pick at, I'm gonna switch positions. There have been very few guys, Deion Sanders and the Bo Jackson and Jordan, Brian Jordan. People don't realize Brian Jordan was one of the first ones to be able to do that. And he gave up football completely.
He did.
And had a nice career with the Cardinals.
He did.
It's good, but it takes a special somebody
I agree.
to play not play two sports, because I play three sports. I'm talking about at the professional level, at the highest.
But you know what? This is almost like playing a different sport to go from quarterback to tight end.
Yes, it is.
I believe it is.
It is.
Yep. And again, I don't know whose idea it originally was, but Urban originally sold it as Tebow's idea to try.
Right.
But I thought the whole idea was for him to try to be the complimentary quarterback like he was to Chris Leak as a freshman at Florida when they won the national championship.
Well, see, Skip, I was always surprised. I said, well, Skip, why would you bring him in at quarterback when you got Trevor Lawrence and he's the number 1 overall pick and you don't want any distractions? You don't want Tebow mania. You don't want if the kids struggle one game and the crowd starts chanting Tebow, Tebow, Tebow. So
No, you don't want that, but you just that Taysom Hill kind of quarterback, that gadget guy you could throw in just to mess up a defense, to keep them off balance with a third down run for a first down.
Yeah, but Skip, you do realize before Taysom Hill threw a pass or caught a pass, he was all special teams.
No, he was. I agree.
He was all punt return, kick return.
Yep.
Before Sean Payton never let him put the ball in his hands and say, son, run it, son, throw it, son, catch it. He was on special teams.
Right.
Tim did none of that.
And then we look at a Logan Thomas who's become a very good tight end and was a quarterback and was a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, but he was also a tight end in high school. I think somebody told me he was like the number 1 rated tight end coming out of high school.
And he's 6 feet 6 inches tall.
And he's 25.
And he started tight end at 26 when he turned his career around, obviously. So he was failing as a quarterback. And he just said, hey, I got a shot here because I did play this in high school.
And he bounced, before he actually caught on, he bounced around a couple of teams.
So in the end, Urban said this was the right thing to do. Well, clearly, under these circumstances that everybody got thrust into, it was the right thing to do. I just don't know why it got to this point.
Skip, the right thing to do, if Urban cared about Tim Tebow as much as we believe that he does, you sit Tim down and say, Tim, you're 34.
This is but before all this happened.
Right, before Tim comes to and says, Urban, I want to try out. You sit Tim down and say, Tim, you're 34.
You can do that. Tim, especially if you're talking about tight end, you say that's just too much.
Tim, you've never played this position.
Nope.
It looks easy. Travis Kelce and Gronk and the guys make it look easy.
Yep.
But you're asking them to go beat a corner, to go beat Stephon Gilmore on one play, but in the same breath, go block Myles Garrett. Go block J.J. Watt. Really?
Really.
So
really not.
Just Urban, just be sometimes, Skip, and I'm a firm believer. Friends should always tell their friends what they need to know, not what they want to hear. And what Tim wanted to hear was like Urban was going to give him an opportunity. And he was gung-ho. But Tim at 34 wasn't going to be able to make the transition after 9 years away from the game of football and play a totally different position. It's disrespectful to the guys that actually played that position. That a guy that was a quarterback that hadn't played in a decade thinks he can just switch over because what you think tight end is easy? There are no easy positions in pro football. None, zero. You can think punting is easy. Yeah, you think it's easy until you're backed up in your own end zone and you shank one and it goes out at the 10.
That is
or you think kicking field goals is easy until the game is tied or you're down one and you miss a 30-yarder. How's that? When everybody walking up the field, they're looking at you like, see, you've been doing all these trick shots. You can make all the trick shots in the world. But when we need a 35-yard field goal to win the game, you yank it.
That is true.
There are no easy positions in pro sport. And I can just talk about the sport that I play, football.
No, I got
that is a very hard sport.
I got it. But in the end, I did read a lot of quotes from a lot of players, starting with Gardner Minshew, who said it was an honor to have him for a brief time in our locker room. He said every time I was playing catch with him, I was like having to pinch myself like I'm playing catch with Tim Tebow. So I think it helped a little bit to get them off in a new regime with Tim Tebow in the locker room.
I agree. I think it's really a great point because his presence in the locker room has always impacted teams. So maybe in that short amount of time, he did leave a mark there, guys.
No mercy.
Last night, we got to see more of the Cowboys on episode 2 of Hard Knocks. And Dak, he was continuing his shoulder rehab. Zeke was being Zeke. And Micah Parsons still wanting to play more snaps during the preseason. Shannon, what was your biggest takeaway from last night? There were more storylines last night.
Yeah, it was. Skip, I like this. I like the storylines. I like the Kamara kid telling the story of him, how his family came from the Ivory Coast, was a refugee, and his mom was going to get an opportunity to see him for the first time when he went to Arizona. I love the Barsham kid, even though he got injured, Skip, him imitating the D-line coach. And the D-line coach, Skip, I'm listening to this dude, I'm like, hold on, ain't no way this dude a D-line coach. I'm like, this dude sound like he from overseas. Well, he actually is, but I'm like, huh? So I love that aspect of it. I love the interminglings where they show Skip when they're doing the joint practices. And CeeDee Lamb goes to one of the DBs, asks CeeDee, and CeeDee, they're like, yeah, I put that work in. Because that's actually what actually happens, Skip, is we have joint practice and I had a bunch of them. First thing we do, hey, go ask the defense, how y'all do? Man, we did all right, what'd you do? You already know what I did. So, Skip, I love the interaction. I love the DeMarcus, the D-Law. I didn't know that he was that big of a family man. I didn't know he had actually brought his family out there to be close. It was like, wow.
That's what Hard Knocks does.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. It humanizes people. It lets you see a different side of them that you didn't know. And so that's what I was like. They had a little bit of Jerry talking to Michael Irvin about how good CeeDee Lamb looked and how good he's going to be this upcoming season. But, Skip, that's what I loved about last night episodes. I got to see stories. Since I've been in TV, Skip, I'm all about stories. It's not about wins. Yeah, you want to win. Yes, it's wins and losses. But it's stories. Narratives. Can you tell a story? To paint this kid to see, kid really had never really played football, earned a scholarship to Kansas, stuck last year on the practice squad with the Cowboys. Now he's actually trying to make the roster.
And about 235
pounds. Got an uphill battle.
That's an uphill battle.
Got an uphill battle.
Yep.
Do it. Everything I do is for my mom. And it was just like, okay, Skip, I can get down with this type of a hard knock. But still, your guy Mike McCarthy.
They led with it. It opened up episode 2.
He need to go to some motivational speaking. He need to get Tony Robbins. He need to go to 10 speaking something. He need to go get some motivational speaking classes.
To me, you either have that or you don't.
You do, Skip. It is. That's a God-given ability.
It is. And he does not have it, and he is forcing it as hard as he can force it. And he tries to sort of fuel it up with some F-bombs, and they just drop dead.
Skip, before you go, Skip, sorry to cut you off. Did you see when he's up there talking and they pan in the room and guys just looking?
Yeah, did you see anybody coming out of their chair over this?
That's your guy.
And what got me, I don't want to dwell on this because, look, he just overmatched. He's on Hard Knocks.
Right.
And he's trying as hard as he can to sell himself as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys when we all know the owner and operator is that guy upstairs, right? And his son.
Yes, the two Joneses.
The two Joneses. And so, remember, he's given a motivational speech that sounds like it's for the Super Bowl, and it's actually for the second preseason game, which for the Arizona Cardinals was their first. Right? It's a camp fodder game in which your starters are barely, if even going to play.
No, I don't even know if any offensive starters even played.
No, they did not. So what are you wasting your breath for? Well, we're going to
remember this team. We played this team last year.
Yeah. We played. 40% of you are new. I want you to know we played this team last year. By the way, that team on Monday Night Football
beat the brakes
behind. And he says, we're going to put it on their ass tonight. You are? Why? What? Right? What's the point?
Save some of that.
Yeah, save a little bit of it. Obviously everybody wants to do their job and make the team. It's mostly about a guy, the Tebows of the team trying to make the team, right?
Right.
And then he says, we're a popular team. We're not in this to be effing popular. What are you talking about? Okay, so we did that. We did it hard last week. And again, that is not his strength.
That's not his forte.
I used to hear all the time from a lot of people inside football that in his glory years in Green Bay, he was one of, if not the best play caller in pro football. Right. And now he's not calling plays, obviously.
Kellen Moore is.
He's in play. He was already there.
Right.
And to Mike's credit, he kept Kellen Moore because Dak loves Kellen Moore and has a good vibe with him, good connection with him. So I don't know. Now Mike is not doing what Mike did best because he's another classic case of how many of these guys do we see? He was a really good offensive coordinator, and he made his bones in this league. He made his way as an offensive coordinator, Well, does that qualify you to be the CEO of a team?
And he probably
speech maker?
He probably told Jerry that I'm going to call the plays.
And Jerry said no.
You
Right?
think Jerry said no?
I believe that.
Right.
Yeah, he probably did. But again, Kellen Moore is already in place.
Right.
Quickly, speaking of Jerry often makes you laugh for the wrong reasons because you're laughing at him, not with him. But he actually cracked a joke last night that made me laugh. And I've been around Jerry a whole lot in my life, and rarely, if ever, can I remember a time when he made me laugh where he actually had a funny line.
Right.
So he's talking about the new defensive line coach who's from, I think, London, or he's from
played with
England.
London Monarchs.
Yeah. And he says, this is Jerry, that defensive line coach, I look at him and he looks like he's from Arkansas. I listen to him, and he sounds like Winston Churchill. And then Jerry starts quoting from the most famous Winston Churchill speech from 1940 to the House of Commons with the Germans at their doorstep.
Right.
And remember, it was we're going to fight them on the beaches. We're going to fight them in the streets. We're going to fight them in the fields. And Jerry starts quoting from the Winston Churchill speech, and it's funny because he's doing his D-line, yeah. He's doing Winston Churchill's voice, and so that made me laugh. But we didn't see a whole lot of Jerry. We're going to talk later about CeeDee Lamb. Okay, now I'm going to just say this one time. I'm going to be a Cowboy fan.
Okay.
And I went to my first game when I was 10 years of age at the old Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas, so my fan is going to come out now. My two biggest takeaways from episode 2, and you could also say from just both episodes together.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb and your man, Micah Parsons, that you said pre-draft, you said he's going to be the best defensive player in the draft. Obviously, I wanted Patrick Surtain, and I still believe that your Broncos got a star in Patrick Surtain.
He definitely looked good on Saturday.
Hey, he's just a stud. And so I would have taken him just because it was a need position.
Right.
And as a bookend Alabama cornerback to my other guy, Trevon Diggs, obviously, I would think you'd be set maybe for 10 years.
Right.
But Micah Parsons is going to be a star in this league. And I love what he was yelling at the end of you could see him when he came out of the game at Arizona. I don't got to talk about it. I be about it.
Right.
Well, he is being about it. And you can see him. He is all over the field.
Sudden.
He's in the middle of everything.
Yeah, Skip, he just has what you can't teach.
You can't teach any of that. It's magical where you just have sense.
Right.
You call it spidey senses, whatever it is. You just smell football and you get there. And he's got such quickness at his size that, and it was interesting to watch him with BAD, Ben DiNucci, the backup quarterback. They're playing chess. He's a really good chess player. And I read that he beat Amari, who's the team champion at chess. Right. So he's got a chess mind. And he said he made one blunder and it cost him the game against DiNucci. Right. But the point is, I'm impressed. He's already a very good chess player because his mind is working chess like on the field. And you could see it. He's a couple of moves ahead. Sometimes he's too many moves ahead because he gets beat, he just gets faked out of position. Right. But again, is that not a new big jolt of electricity to that defense? Right. He was sorely needed as an all over the field playmaker, just as Jalen Smith. I know it trended Saturday, or was it Friday? No, Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. Jalen Smith had the one play where he couldn't get outside. He just looks like he can't run anymore. Right. I mean, it's gotten sad, but all of a sudden, here comes Micah Parsons. Well, you overpaid Jalen Smith because you gave him a big new deal, so he's going to be a big cap hit on the bench, and it looks like he's going to be mostly, to me, on the
remember,
bench.
you guaranteed his contract before the season. Like, as soon as the league year started, you guaranteed his contract.
March 5th.
Right. But, Skip, I think the thing is that when you look at Micah Parsons, it's like, guys might be fast. Like, man, he can really run. And then you put him next to Usain Bolt. And you're like, you're not that fast at all. It's when you put Micah Parsons next to Jalen Smith. And then you see the differences in speed. And you're like, well damn, Jalen. But Skip, Jalen shouldn't even be playing. The injury that he had at the Fiesta Bowl that left him down there where they shredded his PCL, his ACL.
By the way, it was that same field that he was on Friday night.
So for him to have carved out a niche, have gone to a couple of Pro Bowls and get a second contract, Skip, I think that speaks to something. But yeah, he's starting to slow down. He's not the same player that he once was. But Micah Parsons, and looking at him and looking at his measurables and watching him play, there's very few guys that can take measurables, can run fast, can jump high, can do a short shuttle, can do all that. And then you put him on the field, and you're like, well, damn. Everything that he did there, he's doing here. He's one of those guys. Skip, I'm not saying he's going to be Ray Lewis. I'm not going to say he's going to be a Luke Kuechly. But he has instincts. And that's what the linebacker needs. He has instinct. Devin White has instincts.
Yeah. Devin
White is sudden. Devin's a little bigger than this kid. But this kid is sudden. This kid plays downhill. He gets
that position to me. It's how fast can you run fast? Because it's how quickly do you react?
Right.
Because he's reacting quicker than others react.
Yes.
So he's getting up to top speed because he is anticipating better.
Because you got to be, a lot of times, Skip, you got to beat the guard to the point.
Yep.
Because that guard weighs 300 pounds. He gets on you, he's going to put you on your back.
There was one time a guard got up into him and he just...
He understands it's all about
tossed him away.
It's all about leverage.
Yeah.
But Skip, he looks to be the real deal, and I can't wait till they actually get in the. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing shapes out. Now, this is their game. This is game 3 for them, game 2 for everybody else. I believe they're going to game plan. This is going to be like, okay, this is what they like to do in this down and distance. This is what we're going to do.
Okay.
I'm interested to see who starts and who plays. Because are they trending towards going with Keanu Neal and Michael Parsons?
It looks like it to me.
Or are they going to have Jalen Smith and Wolf Hunter in the starting lineup? So that's the thing that I'm looking for most. Who trots out there when they say, all right, one's up? Who hits the field?
Keanu Neal is laying some wood.
Oh, yeah.
And again, he did it from the safety position, and now you've moved him up one level, and he's already in the middle of it.
Well, I think linebacker might be that he's a little undersized, but I think that's better because he has less space.
Yep.
So, Skip, you know, when you playing in the box, people can't juke you as freely as when you have all that space. You got to work about from hash to sideline and everything in between.
And then my other guy, as I told you before the draft, CeeDee Lamb's going to be a star in this league. His growth got stunted last year when they lost Dak in the 5th game of the year. And then it's Andy Dalton and Bad and Garrett Gilbert, and it's one after another. And he had an okay year, but he didn't have the year I think he's about to have. As Jerry said, and we're going to talk more deeply about this later, he's put on some strength weight, some muscle weight.
Right.
And I finally got to see a little bit inside him, thanks to Hard Knocks. And I liked him because I didn't know, I had no sense of him kind of away from football.
Right.
And he had a softer side, a sensitive side, and I loved it that he was talking about his Siberian and his golden doodle that he had to live back in Dallas. And he said, I miss them so much. That's a man after my own heart.
Yep, exactly.
You know how that goes.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yep. And so I think this is going to be his year. So he's going to become a driving force on offense, Micah on defense. And I'm going to win 5 cases of Diet Mountain.
Well, Skip, the thing is going to be very interesting is to see how this plays out once Amari is back up to speed. It's easy for him to be the guy when there's no Amari.
Well, they say Amari's close to 100%, coming off ankle surgery.
Skip, it's hard for me to see a guy making $20 million. He's the number 2 receiver.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. That's all about the quarterback's choices that he makes, and we'll see what choices Dak
He likes Amari, that's Skip. Amari what got put Dak on the map. You remember when they traded for him?
He was raving about CeeDee during practice, how easily he runs go routes. It's like he walks underneath balls.
Okay,
here we go.
You gonna upset Amari?
I'm glad you guys got a
you okay with this?
Yes, into CeeDee, because CeeDee was one of my favorite players to talk to throughout his years in college at Oklahoma. He is special. He was always so polite on the phone, such a nice guy, and you guys are getting to see that, so we'll talk CeeDee in just a bit. But first, the NBA season might be 2 months away, but we already got a glimpse into how we'll be treated on Christmas Day this year. Something to look forward to. Headlining the 5 games that day will be when Durant and the Nets travel to L.A. to take on LeBron and the Lakers in what many are anticipating could be a finals preview. And according to Fox Bet Sportsbook, the Lakers are an early 1.5-point favorite situation here. Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that LeBron's team will beat Katie's team?
9? You're already a 9?
Already
a 9.
You realize Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Patty Mills,
Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Bruce Brown,
Cam Thomas.
I'm gonna see how Cam Thompson. See if Cam Thomas can do all that scoring when he ain't got the ball. Let's see, because it's gonna be summer league.
I think they get to play with 2 basketballs.
They might need that for him to get all the shots that he was taking in summer league. Skip, look, this is a home game, and I don't think anybody's surprised That this is the headline Christmas Day game.
I will buy that.
Nobody's surprised by this. You knew we were getting the Nets and the Lakers.
Unless Kawhi had been full strength, 100% healthy.
You thought we'd got the Clippers, Lakers?
It's possible, but I can't argue with you.
Yeah, this is headline. This is box office. Maybe this is foreshadowing for what a lot of people believe and hope will be an NBA Finals matchup.
Yep.
The Lakers will be 2 months into the season at this point. We would have gotten a great opportunity to see the Russ, LeBron, AD, how that's panning out.
Yep.
We know, look, even though they didn't play a whole lot of games, but they played like 9, 10 games together when all three guys were there, Kyrie, Harden, and KD. But we saw what it looked like when they were healthy.
Yep.
It looked really, really good. So I'm anxious to see 2 months in how LeBron and AD and Russ will look. But I think we'll be clicking on all cylinders. I think it's going to be a big-time game. I'm not missing anything. I'm going to tune in early just in case. Because you know Brian going to want to put on the show. Crimmer.
You think he will?
You know Crimmer. Man, you know Crimmer. Man, Santa Claus on Crimmer.
Really?
Yeah, something special.
Remember when Pat Bev blocked LeBron's shot on Christmas Day? He went up to shoot a 3 to tie, and Pat Bev got it on the way up, knocked it right off LeBron's hands, back over his head, OB, game over.
Yeah, y'all got a banner out of that one.
Yep.
We got a
We
banner.
did, actually.
Get what?
Yep.
We got the real banner.
Pat Bev, now a T-Wolf. Who knew?
Are you sure that's his last stop?
I don't know. So what I love about this is also the subplots, because everybody seems like they've played with everybody else, because obviously Kevin and Russell and James started together as the Baby Thunder. So
Can you believe that? OKC had all
can
that.
you believe that? And they let James Harden go. I still don't get it. Clay Bennett.
$4 million.
I'm from Oklahoma City. He's got deep pockets, and all of a sudden, just on principle, you're saying, I'm not going to pay that much sort of luxury tax, or that's just too rich for my... No, it's not too rich for your blood, because you can afford that. Why wouldn't you just figure it out? And you know the rest of the story.
Yep.
But then you had Carmelo played with James in Houston briefly, and then Russ tried to play with James in Houston, and we go on and on.
Kyrie played with LeBron.
And by the way, speaking of Kyrie and LeBron, I will remind you that one big Christmas Day stage back when we first started the show in 2016, that group we started on September 16th, that Christmas was at Cleveland, and it was Golden State at Cleveland, Kevin Durant's Golden State.
Yep.
And guess what happened with 3 seconds left in that game? Kyrie fall away over Steph. Do you remember this?
That was on Clay.
Maybe it was on Clay. That's right. It was
Steph
Clay
in the championship game. It was Clay in the
and
Christmas Day.
he swished a fall away at the buzzer to win that game 109 to 108. And LeBron's not going to have that help. He's not going to have that bodyguard. He's not going to have that closer
That's us.
this time.
We
Really?
the bodyguard now.
Well, who's going to close for you? You?
LeBron.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean LeBrick?
There you go. Skip, this had to be the game because of the stars. You got 3 guys that on each team that were in the All-Star game last year. AD, Russ, LeBron.
Yep.
KD, Harden, and Kyrie. And then you got a bench player, Melo, multiple-time All-Star. Brooklyn, bench player, multiple-time All-Star, and Blake Griffin.
Yep.
So, Skip, this had to be it. If everybody was sitting around still opening Christmas presents, going back, getting that second helping of turkey and dressing.
Yep.
This is the game, Skip. This had to be. I understand if Kawhi was healthy, but it doesn't. The Clippers don't possess the star power.
Not like this.
That
I will
Brooklyn.
buy that. Nope.
They just don't.
I mean, the star power of that is L.A. versus L.A.
Right, yeah.
Okay, team in basement versus team with the banners, right? But here's the point. In the end, I believe that the Brooklyn Nets will win this game because KD has broken through the way Jordan broke through, because KD had his struggles early. He lost to LeBron when he was with the Baby Thunder in 2012. And once he broke through, once he figured it out, once he left Russell and went to Golden State and joined forces with all that star power, but he became the man. Once he won back-to-back finals MVPs with huge games, game 3s at LeBron's house. And by the way, could we just remind everybody about that shot he hit on...
Well, no, we don't need to remind nobody.
Well, we got to do
We know what happens, Skip. Why you got to always bring up old stuff?
It's a prelude to Christmas Day. Oh, there's Kevin for all the money right there. That was it. He won the MVP of the finals with that shot in game 3. That was it.
I was at that game.
That put Golden State ahead For good.
And I just knew it. I was like, he going to
You said, that's it? You knew he's going to pull up? LeBron, you got to go. You got to go.
LeBron,
you got to jump.
And that was the thing was, I was like, I'd have guarded him. So even if he blows by me and lays it up, we're tied.
Okay.
That's what I look. Look, Bron knows the Bron says he's worried about the hezzy. And you could tell, I could just tell the way he was gathering that he's going to pull up.
So once KD broke through with that shot and that finals victory and that MVP, he doubled it up with another one the next year. And now he has led the United States of America's Team USA to 3 Olympic golds and 1 FIBA World Championship in which he was MVP.
Did that.
Yeah.
LeBron did that.
Okay.
Do you remember what we did in Beijing?
I don't.
You remember what we did in London?
I don't.
We did that to redeem team. That's us.
It seemed like he just went along for the ride.
Don't do that,
I do
Skip.
not remember him dominating those games.
Don't do that, Skip.
Who is the all-time leading Olympic scorer for our country?
Skip.
Who is it? It is Kevin Bleepin Durant, the best player on the planet.
That's why they lost to France, because you were about leading scorer. We didn't have no leading scorer. Carmelo came off the bench was the leading scorer. In the original Dream Team, Barkley came off the bench was the leading scorer. We had guys that just do the job. It might be LeBron one game, might be D-Wade, might be Melo, might be Bron.
Well,
it didn't matter.
Was KD or bust.
And then we went to London. You remember we went to London? KD was on that squad.
Yeah, he was. He led that squad.
Oh, love it.
Okay, okay, that's why we lost to France. Who won the gold medal by beating France? Kevin Durant.
After they had them spanked us, had been talking trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had banned us for French till we couldn't get French fries, French toast, or nothing.
Yep. Well, Kevin put a stop to that.
Skip, why you always look here? Kevin Durant lives in America, plays for America. You make it seem like I wanted him to lose. I want us to win all the gold medals.
A quiet little side of you.
No, it wasn't.
Yep.
I was worried about because I didn't want nobody to have more gold medals than us, and so we needed all that.
Millions of billions of blind witnesses out there wanted Kevin Durant to fall on his face as the leader of Team USA, so they could say, "Well, if LeBron had been there, this wouldn't have happened." Right?
No, not in our sport. Maybe some other sport, but nah. Okay, maybe in badminton or something, it's okay. You can't beat us in our sport, and this is our sport. Basketball belongs to us, men and women. That's ours, and so we do not take L's, and we don't take them lightly.
I think your Lakers are going to take an L on Christmas because Kevin Durant has become the best big game player in all of basketball, and I think you know that.
I hear a lot of talk about. I don't hear nothing about no do. I ain't heard nothing about no do yet. All I hear is keep talking about some big games and game 3 that happened 17 years ago. I don't hear nothing about no do. I don't hear no do hitting the table.
I will take the 1.5 for 5 cases right now.
No point, straight up.
Fox Bet says you are a 1.5 favorite already.
This is Shannon bet and Skip bet with no points.
So are you afraid of Kevin Durant? Is that what you're telling me?
5.
Huh?
5.
If you weren't afraid of Kevin Durant, you just say a 1.5 is nothing.
I ain't afraid of Kevin. If you so confident Kevin Durant is that best player on the planet, you should give me a 1.5.
I'm the visiting team.
But you got Kevin Durant.
It's Staples Center on Christmas.
You just told me wherever Kevin Durant go, that's his home. Remember he was in
Did he? He did.
Quickest Loans.
Yeah.
Okay then.
That palace in the King's Palace.
Yeah, he was in the Quickest Loans. Okay.
He made sure the king had to abdicate.
5.
Yeah.
5 cases, no point, straight up.
1.5, I'll take it right now.
No, I'm not giving you no point.
Bet. Well, why wouldn't you do that?
Because
it's the king.
You got the best player on the planet.
Every time I look up, the king's posting another workout video.
Yeah, he's working out.
He's in the best shape of his life at age, what is he, 43?
About to be 37.
Oh, 37, that's right.
About to be 37.
Yeah, okay.
But you got the best player on the planet.
Okay, if you won't do the points, I will do this right now. I will do 2 cases straight up right now. 2 cases.
Why you not going to do 5?
Done, thank you.
Okay, I'll take 2.
Thank you. Ew, I needed 2 more cases. No, I really didn't.
That's okay. But I will get them all back.
Yeah.
Between the Cowboys,
yeah,
I will get them all back.
I got CeeDee and Micah, and I'm good for 5.
Okay. Yep. You already. Oh, look.
All I got to do is win the least.
I remember that. Hopefully, Amari watching this. You used to believe in Amari.
I did for a while.
Oh, you did.
And
so that's past this. You
started dogging it on the road.
So as an English major, did is past
I do know that.
Okay.
That is one thing I do know.
Okay, you heard it. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we're all listening. Don't worry.
Because most of your arguments are past tense on this show.
No. When it comes to the Cowboys, present tense. Okay. Yeah. Future tense.
Did you guys have a bet about Tebow? I'm not remembering. I don't think you did. We should have put something on the table there. I don't think so.
No mercy.
Well, Skip has said Tebow's 2011 stretch in Denver was the greatest clutch run of any quarterback ever. He came in midway through the season to win 7 games as a starter. And, he led the Broncos to a playoff win against the Steelers in overtime. And, yes, we probably will watch that again right now. Shannon, you have played, we know this, for the Broncos. You're close with the organization. So how much credit does Tebow deserve for the 2011 run? Be honest here.
Oh, I think he got too much credit. Tebow played well. I'm not going to say he played great because he didn't. There's no such thing when you say put great and Tebow together. But he played well. But I don't think we give the defense and Matt Prater enough credit. Skip, you mentioned that 6-game winning streak. During that 6-game winning streak, the defense averaged giving up 17 points a game. And I want to put this in perspective. Last year, the Rams led the league in points allowed, giving up 18.5. We know how good the Rams defense is, led by Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. They gave up 18.5. The Broncos gave up 17 during the winning streak in which Tebow was in. 17 points.
How did they fall to 1-4?
Skip, hold on, wait a minute. Now I'm going to give you a chance to So there are not very many times that a field goal kicker is going to kick a 59-yard field goal as time expires and then kick another 51-yard field goal to win the game in overtime.
Unless it's at Mile High, and that's like a 25-yard field goal.
There's not a guy that right now, as far as distance field goal, I would take Justin Tucker, number 1, the kicker from Baltimore. I would take Matt Prater, number 2.
Okay, I'll buy that.
I don't know if you'll ever see this again. A team won an NFL game in which they completed 2 passes. Tim Tebow went on the road and beat the Kansas City Chiefs and completed 2 passes. That's never going to happen again, Skip. The guy completed 46% of his passes. Now, down the stretch, this is what he did in Week 15 loss. Patriots, 11-22, 194, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Week 16 loss at Buffalo, 13-29, 185, 1 touchdowns, 3 INTs. Week 17 loss to the Chiefs. They lost to the Chiefs 7-3. He was 6-22 for 60 yards and a touchdown.
By then, they had already won the AFC West.
Actually, they didn't. They'd have won one of those last 3 games they'd have won. It was because the Raiders and the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Chiefs were so bad. Okay. That's what happened. They were
in the driver's seat.
Yeah, but if they win that game, the Raiders end up losing, and they won the division. Skip, look, he was the quarterback. There's no denying that. But to say he was the central key figure and why they won these games, the defense had to play out of their mind. You had to get Marion Barber running out of bounds. If he doesn't run out of bounds against Chicago, you lose that game.
That was miraculous. I would agree.
Yeah.
Tell me when it's my turn.
It's your turn. Okay. Tebow played well, Skip, but come on now.
Okay. I've told you several times. I'm going to reiterate for the last time, because this is going to be the last time we talk about Tim Tebow, because finally he's out of your hair, so to speak.
No, he'll come back and try something else.
You think he's going to try
he might try to win Olympics or something.
The Lakers need a backup point guard, right, or something. I don't know. Who knows?
You do.
Okay, so here's the point. I never was much of a Tebow fan when he was at Florida. Obviously, I was born and raised at the University of Oklahoma football fan, and I always, from a distance, thought Tebow was a little bit arrogant, a little bit smug for my taste, until he put it on my Sooners in the 4th quarter of the national championship game, and I said, that guy is a force of competitive nature. And maybe a week or 2 after the game, I saw that halftime video of the speech he gave his team. If we could just see a little bit of it right here, right now, this is the essence of Tim Tebow.
Get in here right now! Get in here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! That's our battle in the first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody, and we're taking it down the field for a touchdown. I guarantee you that.
Guaranteed.
Look at me. Let's go. We got 30 minutes. Let's go. For the rest of our lives. For the rest of our lives. Let's go. Let's go.
Man, who the hype man in the back? We got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. We got 30 minutes.
I like that.
Who the hype man?
It's called call and response, right? They can make a rap song out of it, right? That is why Urban Meyer said to Chris Collinsworth, and he said, I told my coaches when they were trying out Tim Tebow to be tight end, he said, he is the most competitive maniac you will ever talk to. And I bought into that, and I said, I want that guy on my team because I can win with that guy. So ahead of that draft, I said I would take him late in the first round. And if you let him run his college ride and decide the option offense that he ran and started to run with Willis McGahee in Denver, that he can win games in the NFL. I said he will never make a Pro Bowl, but he can win games. And by the way, in his final college game, remember the Sugar Bowl again? I know it's just Cincinnati,
right,
but he threw for 482 yards. So don't tell me he can't throw, because my friend Tom House, who teaches and coaches Tom Brady and Drew Brees and all the top quarterbacks, he flat out told me he had Tebow for a whole offseason, and he said by the end of the offseason, if I had lined him up with all the top quarterbacks, all of them in a line, throwing footballs at the same time, obviously Tebow's left-handed, but he said you wouldn't have been able to see any difference. He can throw until he gets in games and he gets a little crazy with it because he's such a psycho competitor. Early in games, he tries too hard. But as Eric Mangini started to see in that 2011 season, the later it got in games, the more accurate he gets because he just wills the ball where it's supposed to be. He is a force of competitive nature to the point I said, I'm going to take him if I need a quarterback.
Right.
Denver needed a quarterback. Josh McDaniels was the head coach. Josh McDaniels knows a thing or two about offense, right?
Yeah.
He took Tim Tebow with the 25th overall pick and said, I'm going to figure out how to win with Tim Tebow. Well, Josh couldn't figure out how to win with Kyle Orton because he got fired.
Josh couldn't figure out a way to win without cheating.
That's okay. Fair enough. Bingo. End of story. Next question.
Yeah.
So it left Tebow adrift without the guy who picked him. That's a bad spot to be in, right? Especially if you're Tim Tebow.
Right.
What happened in the second to last game that year after Josh got fired? You got to see the first glimpse of Tim Tebow. You got to see a home game against Matt Schaub and the Houston Texans. Remember this? Your Broncos at that point were 3-11 at home, and all of a sudden, Tim Tebow brings them all the way back by throwing for 308 yards, and he ran 6 yards for a late touchdown that won the game 24-23, and I said, that'll work.
Yeah.
And then there was another glimpse. As Kyle Orton finished his run the next year, as they fell to 1-4, it got so bad against San Diego at home that they fell down 26-10 in the fourth quarter. And finally, John Fox said, okay, I give up. I've seen enough of Kyle Orton. Tebow go in there and finish the game.
Right.
What did Tim Tebow do immediately? He ran 12 yards for a touchdown. When they got the ball back, thanks to the defense, he threw a 28-yard touchdown pass, and they cut it all the way to 2. San Diego kicked a late field goal. Defense couldn't hold San Diego, and they won by 5. But it was such a rally that I was at ESPN at the time, actually in Bristol at the mothership, and we were getting ready to do a BCS college football show on Sunday night, and I was watching the Cowboy game just sitting in the research room, and Robert Smith, you know Robert, ran to get me, and he said, you got to come look at what Tebow's doing. I said, he's at it? And he said, yeah, he's at it again. He's bringing him back.
Right.
The next week, he gets the job because I think John Elway, your man, and John Fox just said, let's get this over with. Let's give the people what they want and see what happens. They go to Miami and they fall behind 15-0 with 2:44 left in the game. And what does he do? On 3rd and 3 from the 5-yard line, he hits Demaryius with a touchdown pass that cuts it to 15-7. They recover an onside kick, and here he comes. 10 plays, 57 yards, and he throws it to the tight end Fells for a touchdown from the 3-yard line and runs it in off the ride and decide where he keeps it for the 2-point conversion, and they go to overtime, and they sack Matt Moore, and he fumbles, and they get the ball back, and Prater wins the game.
Think about what you just said.
But think about the rally from 15-0 down with 2:44 left. It's the Tebow effect on the team. The team was losing. They were 1-4. They were dead in the water. And they said, this kid's a maniac.
If you don't mind me asking, you said what was the score? It was 15-0?
Yep.
What was the final score?
It was 18-15.
So the Miami Dolphins never scored again.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Okay, now we go to Oakland, and Oakland has them down 17-7 and 24-14. And Tebow didn't throw it great. He threw it for only 124 yards. He ran it for 118 yards, and they kept coming back and coming back because he converted third down after third down with his legs, and they end up running away with it. They rushed for 299 yards in that game and won it 38-24 going away. Now they go to Kansas City, and it's your infamous 2 completion game. What happens late in that game is actually 6:52 left in the game. What happens? Tebow drops back on 3rd and 10. If we can see this play at Kansas City. 3rd and 10 from the 44. And here it is, bombs away. That's a pretty good spiral. It hits him right on the button, right on the money for the touchdown that wins the game 17-10. That's Tebow. That's playmaking. That's just clutch. I mean, you have to make one throw to win the game. Is that not a good throw? That's a great throw. I mean, you can't do much better than that. So now they're off to the races. So now come the Jets on Thursday night. And you know what happened? A 95-yard drive in 12 plays happens late in the game, and he converts a 3rd and 1 with the 7-yard run, and then it's 3rd and 4 at the Jets 20. And can we see what happened? 3rd and 4 at the Jets 20. And here's Tebow, and he's rolling, and he's rolling. He says, it's wide open. I am going all the way to the house. And he scores, and they win the game 17-13. Defense did hold at the end of the game, but that's playmaking. That's clutch playmaking. You can't argue. Like, I fought with everybody on ESPN. I fought with our man Chris Carter. I fought with Merrill Hodge. Name somebody. I fought with them, and they kept saying, he can't throw. He can't throw. And I'd say, yeah, but he completes all the passes he has to for them to win games, right?
But Skip, you're not going to win very many games when you have 2 completions.
Okay.
You're not going to win very many games.
He won 7 of 8 and won the division. Then they go to San Diego, and they get down 10-0 at San Diego. So the defense didn't stop them there. And all of a sudden, with 4:19 left, he throws 39-yard completion to Eric Decker, and then he hits that Rosario, the other tight end, for 23 yards. And with 1:38 left, Prater kicks a field goal to tie and send it to overtime. And then he goes 6 plays, 38 yards, making 3rd down conversion after conversion that sets up another field goal at the buzzer in overtime, 16-13. Well, this is outrageous, which leads to they go to Minnesota, and he puts up 35 points. It was albeit against Christian Ponder, but 35 points, and the defense gave up 32, but he outscored Christian Ponder. So you got to give him that game. Now they're on a hot roll, and here comes Chicago at home, and this is the miracle of miracle games. I give you this, but they fall behind 10-0 again, and what happens is, down the stretch, Marion Barber has a chance to run out of bounds. And to stay in bounds. And he runs out of bounds. He could have killed the clock and probably won the game. Almost certainly it would have won the game. Tebow, with 56 seconds left, gets the ball back and completes balls of 9, 11, and 19 yards to set up the field goal that takes him to overtime. And then here he comes in overtime. There's a 3rd and 8 pass to DeMario for 10. Then he hits DeMario again for 16 yards and sets up a 51-yard field goal by Prater. And again, mile high, it's not really 51 yards, as you well know. It's more like 38 yards. But he made it, and he was clutch. He was very clutch. He was Vinatieri-esque, right? But here we go, and it goes all the way to you know who, you know what. It goes to the playoff game against Pittsburgh at home, and they hung in, and they get it to overtime, and then it's the throw of throws. If we could see it
we
one
can't
last
see
time.
it.
We got to see it one last time.
Man, you see how great this thing is?
Overtime, Demarius on a little crossing route.
Man, it's great
right on the button, a little stiff arm, and Demarius says, going,
Man,
gone.
Jen, I've eaten bread with less grain than I see in this TV. What's going on with this? You sure that? I don't even know if that's the Steelers. I don't even know if that's the Steelers. That might be Iowa. That might be Iowa in Florida.
That was 10 years ago, and it feels like it was 50 years ago.
Man,
right?
you ought to be scared.
Okay, is that not some clutch playmaking? I've never seen anything like that run. 7 of 8, not including the playoff game. So that makes it 8 wins. They win the division. They win a home playoff game. And again, I give you the defense rose and shone.
Right.
It wasn't under Kyle Orton, but Tebow changed everything with his energy, with his electricity, with his sort of maniac competitive playmaking. I've never seen a clutch stretch of playmaking any better. I'm not saying he's more clutch than Tom Brady, but this stretch of it really covers about 10 games that the playmaking here, the clutchness is off the charts. I've never seen anything like it.
But Skip, here's the thing. In 13 games Tebow started, the defense gave up, they scored less than 20 points 9 times. So that means the defense, in hockey terms, the goalie standing on his head, a Dominic Hasek or a Patty Waugh, a Grant Fuhrer.
Okay.
So the defense had to do something outstanding, extraordinary in order. Because you said yourself, the Chicago Bears jumped out on them 10-0.
They did.
What was the final score, Skip?
13-10. Yep.
So you be telling me that they ain't the defense? Because like you said, Skip, did Tebow ever get the ball? So why was they even able to get out 13-0? Did Tebow get the ball?
56 seconds left in regulation. He completes balls of 9, 11, and 19. It's clutch upon clutch upon clutch. Somebody had to make those throws. Somebody had to defend and hold that line. I give you that. Somebody had to kick the ball through the uprights And he did that.
And somebody had to whisper to Marion Barber's ear, run out of bounds. Yep. And he did exactly that. Okay. And Matt Prater kicked a 59-yard field goal, Skip.
Okay. And after that game, that was when Tebow reportedly told a teammate, God wanted us to win that game. I don't think God picks winners of games, but I don't know. He works in mysterious ways. I don't know. But the point
he's busy on Sundays.
Well, he's probably busy. I hope he is busy. But the point is, when Tebow believes that with all his heart and soul, it manifests. It's like speak it into existence. You can think it. You can will it into existence. And he just kept doing it game after game after game. Somebody had to make the quarterback clutch plays to get them home, and he just kept on keeping on. Is he a great thrower of the football? No. But my favorite stat from the year was in QBR, my favorite stat. Last 5 minutes of NFL games in 2011, Tim Tebow led the league in QBR over the last 5 minutes because he got deadly accurate when you had to be.
What does that tell you? If the defense is not standing on its head, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so but if the quarterback isn't making plays, you're going to lose 13-10.
Yeah, but you have to be in position.
Okay.
So you have
it all goes hand in hand, but you want to talk about inspiration?
No, that ain't what no. Yeah, it goes hand in hand, but you try to make the one hand, you try to put one hand over the other. You're not making it hand in hand.
What's the most important position in all of sports? It's quarterback.
We understand that.
Yep.
But you forgetting the defense. See, that's what you do all the time. See, what Matt Prater was doing is what Vinatieri has done, what Stephen Gostkowski has done. But you want to give all the credit to Tom Brady. You won't give any credit to the defense. You won't give any credit to the Malcolm Butlers. You won't give any credit to the Ty Laws and guys that's made these plays. You only want to give the credit to the quarterback.
Yep.
And I won't allow you to do that because it's the defense and no field goals. Is Adam Vinatieri going to the Hall of Fame?
Sure.
Yes or no?
Greatest clutch kicker ever. Not even close.
Okay,
Never seen anything like him.
Okay, then.
Okay, I give you that. But he did his job that was set up by Tom Brady. There's no way he's in position. There's no way he's in position. His job is much harder than Vinatieri's job.
Man, you crazy.
I'm not crazy.
No. Kicking the ball in a snowstorm and from 50 yards away when it's only so big, it ain't like you just kick it to the end zone. It's good. It's got to go through the uprights.
Okay, I'll take that. I can find other guys who can do that on occasion, fairly regularly.
Not like Adam Vinatieri. Yeah, Justin Tucker.
Okay.
Skip, look. Tebow did what he did. He had a nice little stretch.
Nice little stretch. Nice little most miraculous stretch in the history of football.
There ain't no history, no football. Stop it.
It is.
So what about what Tom Brady did? What about what Trent Dilfer did?
What Tom Brady did when?
His second year, when he replaced Drew Bledsoe.
Okay, his whole career is one long.
No. We talk about that. We talk about that second year.
Okay,
just like this was Tebow's second year.
But Tom never had to take over a team that was 1-4 that everybody had written off and take them to a division title.
What was their record? Remember what was their record?
But everybody thought they were a good team.
No. They were about to get fired. Remember, guys, coaches like, man, hey, went home and told their wife, I don't know, baby.
Yep.
I think you might have to start packing up.
Maybe. Yep.
And what did Tommy do? Tommy told him, say, put them for sale signs up. I got this.
Yeah, I'm not even sure Brady could have pulled this off game after game. If he did it for 3 straight games, you go, okay, that's one thing. This was 8 games. It's a big sample size for one season, and that was the game at New England against Tom Brady, the playoff game, was the last game Tim Tebow started in the National Football League. Can I ask you a question?
How many times do you think Tom Brady has won at least 6 games in a row in his career?
I don't know, probably many.
Exactly, that's my point. He probably won.
Did he do it with late third down conversions and touchdowns scored?
You just told me he's the greatest clutch player ever, so clearly he's done it. I'm
talking about it in the Super Bowl.
No, Skip, he's done this in regular season games. He's done this in playoff games.
Yeah, but nobody's ever had a stretch like this where you took a bad football team that was 1-4. What does Parcells always say? You are what you are. Okay. They were 1-4. They had lost 4 games.
So what was when Tom Brady took over for Drew Bledsoe? What were they?
I think they were
bad. Bad.
Did they win a game? They had lost 2, I think.
Let's leave Tebow for now, guys. We've seen enough of the grainy footage. 2011.
Hopefully he's done with trying the professional athlete thing.
Long time.
Think he done?
No mercy. #1 overall overall pick, Cade Cunningham, is taking his stand on the NBA GOAT debate. The rookie went on a Chicago-based podcast and sided with LeBron, saying, quote, "It's hard for me to put somebody ahead of LeBron because LeBron is the best player I've seen with my eyes. Trust me, all I've seen, he has seen all the Michael Jordan stuff. Dude is different. I can't argue with the fact that you think he's the GOAT, but in my eyes, I say LeBron." Shannon, are you even more of a fan of Cade Cunningham now after this comment?
I agree with it. Right. So, Skip, this generation of players grew up watching LeBron. A lot of the old guys that grew up watching Jordan, the Tracy McGrady's that grew up like that, I'm sure they were probably going to side with Jordan. But as we get further and further removed, Skip, where less and less people actually saw Jordan play, they're going to start siding with guys like Kobe and LeBron and KD. I remember when I was growing up and I was like, hey, Dr. J is the best player I saw. And then it was Magic and Bird, and then here come Jordan. And Jordan was doing things we'd never seen anybody really like fly through there, and he had his tongue hanging out. He was leaning to the side dunking, and he was doing things that we had just never, ever seen. And then he came out with that shoe. And that kind of ended it for everybody because it's like, once you retired, your shoes went away. Not this guy. This guy's shoe became more popular once he retired than he did when he was actually playing.
True.
I'm like, whoa, that's not supposed to happen. But I just think Cade, this kid's what, 19, 20 years old? And so basically all he's really remembered was watching LeBron. And once he gets an opportunity, it would be interesting to see, man, that guy looks really good. And I think that's the thing what happened with KD. He's like, man, KD can really, KD's special. And then you actually get in the game and you see what KD's doing. You're like, man, that's on a whole different level. And that's what they do with GOAT. He's like, man, this dude is really good. The 10 final appearances, the 4 MVPs, the 4 final MVPs, the 17 straight All-Star game starts, the 13-time first-team All-NBA, nobody close. He's been an All-NBA player basically his entire, 15 times, 16 times.
Yep.
So I agree with Cade Cunningham. And guess what you can't say? Oh, that's a clutch client. That's why he talking like that, because, LeBron owned Clutch. Rich Paul owns Clutch. This is not a Clutch client. I agree with Cade, too.
I'm sure
that's
you do.
why he going to be Rookie of the Year.
That might be the biggest duh in the history of
That's why he going to be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. You just became a much bigger Cade Cunningham fan. So I'm going to remind everybody, Cade Cunningham was born on September 25th of 2001. That was exactly 2 weeks after 9/11, just to put it in historical perspective. Yeah. And that was shortly before, on October 30th, after 3 years in retirement, Michael Jordan came out of retirement to play for, at age 39, Washington.
Yeah.
It was a little hard to watch.
So he don't remember none of that.
Okay, he averaged 20 and 6, which was pretty good.
Pretty good.
But it wasn't,
at 40.
It wasn't MJ.
No.
Too many cigars, too much of that.
With that yak.
And he was no longer Jordan, and I doubt Cade even watched him because Cade was a little tiny baby at that point. Right? Okay. Yeah. All right, so I get it that he grew up watching LeBron, but this is one thing about today's generation that haunts me. When I was a little kid, I never watched Babe Ruth play live, but I knew all about Babe Ruth, and I didn't even have the internet because I just got my hands on books, and I heard people talk about him.
Man, ain't nobody read no more like that, Skip.
Okay, but I was in awe of Babe Ruth because I could look at the numbers and I'd say, he did that?
Yes.
And you look at the on-base percentage and you just say, he just dominated the game. It's just like ridiculous.
He was hitting more home runs than teams.
And then you look at his early pitching stats and you say, he did that too on top of that?
Yeah, he was Shohei Ohtani before he was.
Okay, so at least I had huge respect for Babe Ruth, but I never saw 1 second of Babe Ruth actually playing baseball. Right. So it's hard on me to go with Cade on this, except that I do get that his game is much more LeBron-esque than Jordan-esque. It's all around.
6'8" playmaker,
He can do it. He makes plays, and he does. He might even shoot it a little better so far than LeBron does, because in Summer League, he was shooting at 50% from three. I don't know if he'll sustain that, but he shot from the college three, he shot 40%.
Right.
So I do have nothing but high regard for his game. I happen to like Jalen Green a little bit more because he is just a spectacular scorer. He just scores from everywhere, effortless, easy. He just got that scoring gene about him, and he is going to light this league up and put Houston right back on the map.
Right.
Okay? So I would favor him for Rookie of the Year. But in the end, it's hard for me to go with Cade on this because he's just readily admitting. I always say I've been able to see LeBron. I was never able to be around and see full games and know all the storylines going into games with Michael Jordan.
Right.
Well, I don't know what he was doing during the pandemic. Did he see The Last Dance? I don't know if he did or not.
I mean, you know, it's something to be said. Watching me, I was able to go to the Olympic trials when they had the Olympic trials in 1996. And to watch Michael Johnson run the 200 meters, to watch Michael Johnson when he broke the world record, to watch him run the 400 meters. Skip, to watch it on TV and to watch it in person is something entirely. You've been to sporting events your whole career. Watching it on TV don't do it justice as when you see it in person. It's like
it helps to watch it on TV, but I would agree with you.
That field of Miracle on Ice when you were at 1980 Lake Placid.
I was in the front row.
Yes. So they can come out with all the movies they want to. It's not going to do it justice like you being there with pen and pad.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I didn't know enough about hockey to really appreciate what was happening. I'm like, this is really happening?
Right.
I'm sitting next to Larry Felser from the Buffalo News, who knew hockey inside out and covered it for years. He's explaining it to me as we're going. I only went that night because I didn't have anything else to do.
Right.
And they had extra tickets. The U.S., you know, the sort of the press liaison got extra seats. Nobody wanted to go to the game because they thought it was going to be another blowout.
Because they had beaten them earlier 10-0.
10-0 in Madison Square Garden in an exhibition, right? And I figured that's what was going to happen, and then that happened.
And they ended up pulling the goalie, the Trediak, who was actually the time the greatest goalie ever.
Highly controversial, right? And I think that did end the Russians at that point. But the point was that, yeah, I saw that live just the way I got to savor and see Michael Jordan live. I was there in 1998. I got to know him. Reasons I don't really get. He liked me. He sort of took me under his wing a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking about that. Now that I look back at it, I don't know why he liked you.
I don't know. Hard to know. But he knew I really liked him.
Exactly.
Because I could see.
You wrote favorable articles.
Well, I did, because every night I went to watch him, he did one thing that I'd never seen before. On a nightly basis, he would do something I'd say, I've never seen that one before, right? He did that, and all he did was win 10 scoring titles to LeBron's 1. And he was the all-time absolute killer, the assassin, the cold-blooded killer that I'd never seen before. Just the force of will that he had to take over games. Again, maybe it's interesting that to me, LeBron doesn't have that kind of makeup to him, and most people agree with that he doesn't have that Jordan makeup.
You got to, and I'm old enough and fortunate enough to have seen Jordan play. I didn't see him play in the playoff games, but I've seen him play in the regular season, and I've seen LeBron play in postseason, seen him play regular season. I was at that game 3, the loss to Golden State, Skip, and he had 42, I think 42, 12, and 9. I saw him in playoff games when in Atlanta. Like I said, you just got to, some things you just got to see for yourself. Okay. TV doesn't do everything justice. Yeah, I understand that everybody's not fortunate enough, but sometimes when you see it in person, you're in awe.
Okay, I got it. But I'll boil down LeBron and MJ as LeBron, nice guy. MJ, really not a nice guy. But you can see that in The Last Dance, right? That was
He's different. He's very different.
And Cade did say, dude is different. Well, that's an understatement. Yeah, he was like rare, like he was one of a kind. So the point is, I think Cade's nature is more, it gravitates more to LeBron's nature because Cade seems like a good kid. You know, he's got good leadership skills, and yet is he a cold-blooded killer? Is he a tough guy?
I think the thing, Skip, the problem is that everybody tries to equate LeBron to Jordan. Their makeup, their games are totally different. LeBron's makeup, his game is Magic Johnson.
It is. Yep, I agree.
Kobe's makeup is Jordan.
It is and was.
His mindset, the way he behaved, the way he played, that's Jordan. Everything about LeBron is Magic Johnson.
Yep.
And if you've ever met Magic Johnson will meet you and make you feel like he's known you for 25 years. Man, how you doing, man? Damn, Magic, you just met me. How your family? Man, how your brother doing?
Yep.
Your family good? Magic just has a way of making you feel like, dude, man, I've been knowing Magic. I've been knowing Magic 5 minutes. He got me thinking I've been knowing him 25 years.
Agreed. Okay.
Jordan will acknowledge you, but Jordan, he not gonna just open up and just be carried, just carrying on with you. That's not how he's built.
That's not how he's built. Although you have acknowledged, if you walk into the same room with Michael Jordan, you look around and you say, "There he is."
Oh, man, Skip, I've talked to Allen Iverson. I've talked to every a lot of professional basketball players, and a lot of them in the Hall of Fame, and they say the exact same thing. Say when they first saw that man, say he looked like he levitating. Say he looked like he ain't even real. Skip, like I said, I've met a lot of famous people, from Samuel Jackson to Denzel and Oprah. Skip, I ain't never had the feeling I got when I laid eyes on that man.
Thank you.
I still don't, and every time I see him, I'm like, that mofo don't even look real.
Not real.
I'm looking at the ground, I'm like, he's standing, but he gotta be levitating.
Agreed. That's what Cade is missing here.
I'm just telling you, hey.
Yeah. Now I need to read a story in which Jalen Green says that the GOAT is Jordan. Then I'm good. Case closed.
Yeah. See? Right. Oh, that's what you wait for. You wait for him to come out.
Yeah.
But what if he said the GOAT is LeBron?
Well,
now you gonna take back your hope for he win the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Come on. You got to wise up. You got to be mature beyond your years.
Yeah, but it's I ain't gonna lie, Skip. Like I said, I've never met Tiger, never seen Tiger Woods. But that guy?
Yeah, I don't think it's like that with Tiger. Yeah. I got it.
Skip, you know what? I just wish people. I mean, I know. Look, and I'm not finna be blasphemous and sacrilegious when Jesus was coming through and the lady said, "I just want to touch the hem of his garment," and she was healed. But I just wish everybody could just see this man one time and see their reaction.
I got it.
You remember when Michael Jackson would come out on stage and people would just faint, and he started singing, people like, "Oh my God!" And they just taking people out by the 10s and the 15s. You got to see him in person to understand what I'm talking about.
Well, I think you're just making the GOAT case for Jordan.
No, Skip, but I'm saying, basketball player, this right here and pull up, and the trip dubs, and the big game 7, when all the money's in the table.
Really? In the 60% free throw shooting?
There you go. See?
Well, I don't know.
Man, ain't nobody talking about no free throws. Ain't nobody mentioned nothing about no free throws.
Well, they should be.
No, they should.
Achilles heel.
Well, yeah, I mean, Cade gave the man the credit. Now you want to discredit Cade.
Yep.
Now you don't want him to win Rookie of the Year.
His stock fell a little bit.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
That man the number 1 pick in the draft.
Well, that's fine. I like the number 2 pick a little more.
Okay.
I like hearing you guys talk about Miracle on Ice. Since I'm the hockey girl around here. But you said, Skip, that you didn't want to go. You had a ticket. I think it was sold out, though. It was a full crowd.
I don't know what else. I don't know what else to write about tonight.
Yeah,
the media, y'all be getting tickets. Y'all don't even need to be.
Remember
going.
That game was tape delayed in the United States. It was late at night. Replayed.
No mercy. While Tom Brady is receiving most of the praise for the Buccaneers turnaround, there is one other veteran who has played a leading role. And Ndamukong Suh has been getting rave reviews from his coaches on his leadership. Bruce Arians called it tremendous, and that Suh is, quote, teaching guys how to handle themselves. The Bucs coach also went on to say Suh is like Brady when it comes to his preparation. So, Shannon, I start with you. Suh used to be really one of the biggest villains in football here. Are you surprised by this transformation?
I'm not surprised, Skip, and he realized that being a villain cost. It was very expensive. Doing some of the things that he was doing on the football field. Yeah. I think, Skip, what happened is that people mature. You should not be the same person today as you were 5-10 years ago. And I think he has a family now. I had him on my podcast about a year ago after he won the Super Bowl, Skip, and he was talking about how he has a family and how, he's married and having a child on the way. And, the way he approaches the game. And he's like, I say, well, what's Tom like? And he says, here's a guy that just comes in, he does his job, he speaks to everybody. He says, no different than me. I come in, I do my job, I take care of my body. I know what's expected of me, and I go do that job. Skip, people people just look at him now, bounced around. He was at the Rams last year, spent some time in Miami. But his first couple of years in Detroit, it's hard to press there been a better defensive tackle than what this kid was.
I buy that.
He was special. Mm-hmm. And if you watched it in his college games, there hadn't been a more dominant defensive tackle. You might have to go back to Warren Sapp.
I said before his draft, I would take him first overall.
I said the exact same thing. He's special. And I think the thing is, Skip, is that where he is now, as opposed to where he was then, he got his emotions in check, his anger. Because if you did something to him, it didn't matter. Not only was he going to take it out on you, he's going to take it out on your quarterback also. And so he talked about being at the University of Nebraska. Warren Buffett's a big, I think he's an alum of Nebraska, but he was at a game and he ended up meeting him, and they became very good friends. And he talked to him about things and about, hey, he realized that, I'm giving $70,000, $100,000. I can take this money and I can invest it. And he speaks about generational wealth and not doing foolish things that's going to put that in jeopardy. And so for me, I just think he's matured. I think he's grown up. He's at a different place in his life. And we should mature. We shouldn't be the same people today as we were 5, 6 years, 10 years ago. And in him, Skip, he comes with credentials. He's a defensive rookie of the year. He's been an all-pro player. He's been to multiple Pro Bowls. He's one of the most accomplished. JPP also had won a Super Bowl, but he's one of the more accomplished players on that defense. And so for me, I just think the thing, he's been there, he's done that. He's been a very good player. He's not the same player that he once was when he was in Detroit, but he's still a damn good player. Now, don't underestimate him. You saw him in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Don't underestimate him and think he can't still play.
So for me, when I read these quotes from Bruce Arians last night, it was borderline LOL for me because I sat back and thought about all those days on ESPN. We would do entire shows on the biggest, baddest villain in pro football, Indomitable Sue. He was it.
He was it.
And if we could just remind everybody some of the incidents he was involved in. It started on Thanksgiving Day back in, what year was that, 2011. That was the Tebow year. This is a big 2011 show we're doing, a requiem of 2011. That's that.
Evan Dietrich Smith.
Yep. He's the offensive lineman, and he gets up and, oof. That cost him, right? And I think we did like a 2-hour show just on that play right there, just on that stomp.
And remember, he stomped on Aaron Rodgers' calf?
We're about to get...
Okay.
That's next.
He ripped Colt McCoy's helmet.
God. Are we about to get to Aaron Rodgers? Here we go. Just stepped on. Just gave him a little step there. That cost him, right? And then there was a Ryan Fitzpatrick play. Do you remember this, where he sort of kicked him in the head? I think it's maybe more than sort of. I think he just kicked him in the head. Ooh, he goes by him and kicked his helmet off. Ooh. And that cost him some more money. Okay, so he cost himself a lot of money, but he was seen as the biggest, baddest man in pro football. Yeah. And if you had told me back in those days that
he would turn into
coach, that a coach would say about him at some point in his career, he's teaching guys how to handle themselves, you would have been laughed out of town, right?
Absolutely.
It would have been straight Saturday Night Live skit,
like
right?
You're right.
Yeah, he has become a leader of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. So I'm going to say it one more time. You cannot tell me this is not the Tom Brady effect, where Brady walked in, changed the whole culture. I kept telling you he's going to turn into Tampa Bay,
right? The
Patriot way in Tampa Bay. And Sue looked at Brady and said, so that's how he does it. I could do that.
Right.
Because he's a good guy. I've been around him in my days at ESPN. He's a good man at heart. You can just tell by talking to him.
Skip, the thing is that when I did the podcast with him, the way he talks, he's soft-spoken.
Right.
But the way he plays, he's old school Deacon Jones, where they rip your head, anything goes.
Yeah.
And when I'm like, how does this, you talk like this and so even keel and so low key, but then when you on the field, you trying to kill somebody.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
And so I'm like,
Mr. Hyde's scary.
Yes.
But Mr. Hyde has to learn anger management on a football field where there's a line you cannot cross.
Yes.
You got to swallow that.
Yes.
You just, at the end of the play, if it's over, you just got to swallow it and go to the next play and take your anger out on him across from you when they snap the football.
Right now, Skip, he don't even try to take the quarterback down. If you notice, he shoves all the quarterback. He said, because, you say I landed my body weight on him. He's like, I'm a big man. I mean, what you want me to do? You want me to fall down first and then pull him on top of me?
Yep.
No. So he just shoves everybody down. Well, Patrick Mahomes says it feels the same to me.
So if you'd told me 5 years ago that both Sue and Antonio Brown would win rings together on the same team, I would have laughed you off this set.
Right.
but it happened because Tom Brady said, I want you, AB, and I want to play with Sue because I believe, because you don't think Tom knew from his Miami days just what a force Sue was? Yeah, I want Sue on my side. And once they're on his side, they say, oh, that's how you do it. And we can win this way.
Well, you over there talking, you better worry about Sue and Vita Veda and JPP and Shaq Barrett. With your quarterback hadn't played one snap in 11 months.
I already wrote it off. I already told you I have chalked that up as one giant L. My team will be at your restaurant that night when their plane lands. They'll have to do a little detour to L.A., but they're going to have to come see you at your loser's restaurant and they're going to have to order L's because that's going to be a big old fat L.
David White, Levante David, Zeke.
Antonio Winfield in that backfield, he'll just
you think Zeke, how many times you think Zeke does this?
I don't think we'll see that at all. And by the way, I did forget to mention Zeke on Hard Knocks. Yeah. He's taking happy pills. What's gotten him?
He happy, yeah.
He's like giddy happy.
I ain't never been. You know, Skip, I having a good time with training camp, but I was never all that happy all the time.
What did they put in those sunflower seeds? I want to get some of those.
But right? he looked. I mean, like I said, I don't know what he was like in Detroit. I don't know what he's like in Miami.
Yep.
He played well next to Aaron Donald and the Rams. Skip, remember they went to the Super Bowl, ended up losing to the Patriots. But I would have never thought leadership and Ndamukong Suh on a championship caliber team.
Right. Antonio Brown has a ring. Tom Brady. Yeah. Thank you very much.
But you got to be, AB, hopefully is a different player today than he was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Because he realized, you know what, I'm about to be up out the league. Because the NFL will move on without you.
He got his knee fixed. Brady got his knee fixed. Look out, NFL.
Okay, look out, NFL.
Yep. Well, prohibitive favorite.
They're not the prohibitive favorite. No, they're not.
No mercy. Big Noon Saturdays are back on Fox, so get ready to start Saturday strong each and every week with the Big Noon Kickoff pregame show, followed by the marquee game of the day every Saturday. Get ready for some Big Noon energy this fall right here on Fox. We used to see a lot of CeeDee Lamb on those Big Noon games, and now he's had some highlight catches last year with the Cowboys, and he's continuing to impress at training camp this year. On last night's episode of Hard Knocks, everyone on the Dallas sideline seemed to be impressed by what they see. Take a listen.
That's an easy guy to throw a go ball to.
There it is! Yes, sir!
See, he just walks underneath him.
It does surprise me a little bit just because like I go in with the mindset that it's supposed to happen.
Oh my God,
I mean, CeeDee continues to make play after play, catch after catch, that are jaw-dropping. Looks like another 88. 88 is real legacy here.
Making it look easy. And I know, Skip, you've been big on CeeDee's future as a star on the Cowboys and in the NFL. So, Shannon, is this the year that Lamb replaces Amari Cooper as the Cowboys' #1 receiver?
No, I don't know what Tavon Diggs is thinking. A guy does that much pausing, freezing, rushing. Shut that down. Do they try that on Darrelle Revis? Try that on Ram.
Revis is retired.
Yeah, I'm saying. Skip, look. It's easy for CeeDee Lamb, and I'm not saying CeeDee's not a good receiver. He's a very good receiver, very talented. But it's easy to do this with Amari out. And he's stepping up, showing that if Amari does miss some time during the season, guys, you can count on me. And that's what you like to see, Skip. You like to see the progression from his freshman season, which is his rookie year, to his sophomore season. That takes that next step. But it's going to be interesting to see, once Amari is back up to full speed, how this thing shakes out. Skip, last year the targets, Amari had 130, CeeDee Lamb had 111, Michael Gallup had 105. It's hard for me to see a scenario. Amari Cooper makes $20 million a year, and then he's your #2 receiver. I believe we're still a year away from CeeDee really, really challenging Amari for that #1 receiver slot. Now, that's not to say that he's not going to put his best foot forward, and Amari's going to have to put his best foot forward to hold him off. Because this kid is coming. He's coming. He believes that, and he takes pride. He was talking about that 88 and the people that's worn that 88. From Drew Pearson to Michael Irvin to Dez Bryant. And he says, I want all that responsibility that comes along with that and more. So for me, I love what I'm seeing. I love his confidence. But Amari, Skip, he went over 1,100 yards. And like you said, He just needs to put some games together back to back. For whatever reason, down the stretch, he starts tapering off really bad at the tail end of the season, Skip. Like, he almost disappears.
That
can't happen this year.
Cannot.
And so I'm going to say he's another year away before he actually takes the mantle and says, you know what, Amari? It's your boy team now.
Got it. So I'm going to remind you that early in CeeDee Lamb's final year at the University of Oklahoma, in which he was catching passes from Kyler Murray as really the only number one.
Stop doing that.
No, seriously, it was CeeDee or bust that year. You made the mistake of uttering at the end of a show, Jerry Jeudy, the best receiver in college football, and I immediately corrected you. We were running out of time for the show. I said, no, CeeDee Lamb is the best receiver in college football.
You're going to see this year.
And he led the nation in yards per reception that year at the University of Oklahoma. So then we get to draft night. And in a shock of shocks, CeeDee Lamb falls into our laps all the way down at number 17. And I told you going in, he is the best receiver in this draft. You said it was Jerry Jeudy. But the Raiders, then the Las Vegas Raiders, shocked me because they took Ruggs all the way up at number 12. Okay, so it goes Ruggs 12, then your Denver Broncos took Jeudy at 15, and all of a sudden I'm looking up saying, are you kidding me? CeeDee Lamb could be a Dallas Cowboy. I said, you got to do it, Jerry. Do it, Jerry. Do it. And he did it.
He did it.
Didn't need him, but he's just too good to pass up because he's going to change your life at some point. And the next day on the show, I predicted he would sooner than later, be the number one receiver above Amari and Michael Gallup, both very accomplished, very good receivers in and of themselves.
Right.
He will be the number one receiver. He had a little bit of a rocky rookie year because he lost Dak in game number 5, and then it was Andy Dalton for a little while, and then it was BAD for a little while, and then it was Garrett Gilbert, and then it was back to Andy Dalton. It was kind of a mess.
Right.
But Amari lost me a little bit down the stretch of 2019 because starting with that game at Jets, that game you're up in Denver rooting your guts out, you lost your voice. You lost your voice. You were screaming so hard for the Jets to upset the Cowboys. While you're in Denver, you lost your voice for the show the next day, right?
Yeah.
And that was the first game in which Amari caught one ball early and rolled out of bounds and said, I don't think I can go. I'm out. Are you kidding me? Then he took himself out of the game at New England. Gilmore. I'm just saying, but I mean, he just said, no mas, right? He said, I can't do this anymore. I got to stand over here and watch.
Right.
And then Jason Garrett pulled him from the game at Philadelphia. The money pushed to the table in the middle of the table
and
game.
Put the tight end
all
in
or
the run
nothing.
routes.
He did. He put the tight end. He put Tavon Austin in. Remember that?
Tavon ran to go. And your guy overthrew Tavon.
He missed him. He did. He missed him. And Dak's betting on himself.
Just making sure you are.
I'll never forget those plays. And I'll never forget that Amari Cooper got benched in the fourth quarter of the all-or-nothing game at Philadelphia for the division title.
Yep.
You got benched. Well, it's just hard for me to buy back in. And he's coming off ankle surgery, and they say he's going to be 100%. Listen, this young man is explosive. And do we have the Jerry Jones talking to Michael Irvin? I don't think I'm not sure we had that. But the point is, Jerry's just raving about him, saying, basically, we've got to get the ball in his hands.
Right.
He's put on some muscle weight. He's playing stronger. He's playing faster. And then we get to the money line of Hard Knocks, like last night for me, was the Dak line that we just heard. You could hear it under the video. Dak is watching him catch another go ball, and Dak says, that's an easy guy to throw a go ball to. See, he just walks underneath them. It doesn't even look like he's running fast, but he's moving, and he just easily just drifts under go balls.
I mean, get out your back pedal. Come on, Tavon. I mean, what you doing, bro?
All right.
Skip, he got to get out his back pedal. At some point in time, you got to open up and run.
And then thanks to some practice angle footage, we got to see, as USA Today put it, some new jaw-dropping angles of some of those catches he's making, albeit
that wasn't a touchdown. The one-handed catch wasn't a touchdown.
Okay, but was it a one-handed catch?
Yeah.
Yes.
It didn't count, though.
Was it a really good catch? Did he make one of the catches of the year, remember, at Justin Jefferson? Obviously, Jefferson went later in the draft. But remember, Remember the CD catch up there
right
when they
now, both
upset
of the
them?
guys, Judy and CeeDee Lamb, got to catch up to Justin Jefferson.
Okay, I got that. And by the way, Justin Jefferson went all the way down to 22 because Rager went to the Eagles, and I immediately on Twitter said,
And
that's a bad idea.
he played out of his mind. I'm watching footage of him in the Eagles camp.
Well, I think he's not playing.
No, he's playing in practice, Skip. He's been lighting up the Patriots.
Okay, so he went 21, Jefferson went 22, and then Ayuk went to San Francisco at 25, who's a very good player.
Yes.
I give you that.
Yes.
CD will end up being the best of this bunch, and it's a good bunch. And I'm not dismissing Ruggs or Judy because they've had their moments, and I'm sure Judy will continue to have. It would help him to have Aaron Rodgers, but that's not going to happen.
It won't happen this year, but it's going to happen.
You think it's going to happen at some point?
Eventually.
CeeDee Lamb is about to happen right in your face.
So he's going to take over the #1 slot this year, not next year, this year.
And by the way, speaking of slot, you realize they have now moved him officially out of the slot where he had to pay his rookie dues. The slot. There's nothing wrong with the slot, but
I believe
he is a wide receiver.
Skip, I believe he'll be back in the slot once Amari comes back because, Amari player. But they rotate. You move him around, Skip. You try to find the weak link. If I got a weak link and you're in the slot, I'm going to put one of my best receivers on him and let's go to work.
And there's one other thing that CeeDee Lamb can do that was not exploited last year. He can return punts. I don't know if they're going to risk it. I don't know. But he can do it. Right. Maybe on occasion, maybe if you need a spark.
Right.
Maybe if you need some voltage.
Because you remember that Deshaun Jackson used to do that. But Tyreek Hill used to do that. But he's too valuable as a receiver, Skip, to have him get nicked on a punt return.
Well, I got it. But I think occasionally you're going to see
if you need a spark. You know what, Skip? We got him backed up. We down 3 points.
Yeah.
I'll put him at the 50-yard line.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I would do that in a situation like that. But it's going to be a rare occasion. It's going to be a very special moment that requires that.
Okay. CeeDee Lamb, sophomore star. Here we go.
So what's Amari going to do? What's Amari going to be?
He's going to be a number 2. He'll be a good number 2.
You going to pay a guy $20 million to be a number 2?
On the road, he can take the game. He can give us the home games. I think we have more road games this year
than
work. Home.
Okay.
Yeah, because you playing 17, so
they've got one more.
Yeah, I think the NFC has one more road game this year.
No mercy.
LaMelo Ball was featured in a GQ article this week, and like his dad LeVar, the reigning Rookie of the Year wasn't shy. The article showcases LaMelo's bright personality and flair, while also mentioning how the young talent isn't afraid to call himself, quote, one of one, the golden child, or something you've never seen. Now let those sink in. Shannon, is LaMelo putting a target on his back like LeVar put one on Lonzo's back?
Nah, this is not the same, Skip. LaMelo's already backed it up. He's Rookie of the Year. He seemed to never succumb to the pressure. He believed. I saw some footage when he was like 14, and Lonzo says, "Well, I'm the best. He's the next best," and Melo like, "I'm better than both of them."
And you could tell he believed it.
And he actually believed that. And that comes from his dad. His dad has always spoke, son, manifest it. Believe you're the best. Why should I say somebody's better than me? But what I did learn from this article, LaMelo Ball was talking in this article like, we talked to our homeboys. It was in this. Everything was in.
Yes.
I'm like, LaMelo, you do realize you doing an interview for a magazine.
With GQ.
GQ. So
and it didn't seem to bother him a bit.
He's like, man, these ears out here. I say, man, y'all out y'all mind. But Skip, he's different. He believes it, and this is not about no unwanted. Charlotte needs all the attention they can get, first and foremost. So for me, I love it. I love we're not used to seeing players talk like he talks and then go out there and do it. He came in different. Everything about his story is different. Dude said, man, he's like, man, who needs school? They ain't teaching nothing school anyway. Yep. So I'm glad I didn't go to school. So his path to the NBA is very unique, Skip. A guy that doesn't go to high school, his dad, like, whatever's going on, he didn't like the coach. He talk about go overseas, come back to Spire, like, you know what, forget that. I'm going back overseas, plays like 10, 11 games, like, I'm done with this. I'm going into the draft. Yep. So his path to NBA and stardom is very unique. It's nothing we've ever seen before. For an American boy, foreign, like Luka was playing overseas, playing pro ball.
Yep.
when he was 15, 16. So that's not unique for a foreign player. But for an American-born player to take the path that he took is very unique. He's very confident. He's supremely confident in his ability and what he can do. And for whatever reason, it's rubbed off on the other, because the Charlotte's a very young team.
Yep.
But it rubbed off on them, and he got them playing.
Yep.
Like, hey, man, we can do all this. And like he said, it's like I came in there and they walk different. They carry themselves different. They talk differently. Skip, it's not going to bother him. He's been in the spotlight, maybe not on the NBA level, but he's been in the spotlight. His dad had a TV show, a reality show.
Yeah.
He's been doing this. Dude scored 92 points in a game, high school game. So, Skip, he's used to this. He's not in awe of anything.
Yeah.
He's not in awe of anyone. His dad didn't allow him to be in awe of anyone. You the awe. Everybody's going to be in awe of you.
Yep.
And so for me, I would laugh. I'm reading and laughing at the same time.
So was I.
But this kid, I think he's on his way to superstardom.
Yep. I cannot disagree with every point you just made, because as I read these quotes, usually they hit me the wrong way.
Right.
Usually they rub me the wrong way. Usually they rub me raw.
Right.
And with this kid, and I've been around him just a little bit when he got brought in here by his dad when he was like
probably like 16, 17, yeah.
And he was awfully quiet. He sat right over there by you. And now I wish we had just said, hey, you go. LeVar, take a back seat. LeVar, take a break.
He's more like his dad than any of the boys. Lonzo is like his mom.
Point number 2. It is shocking to me how different the big brother is from the little brother.
He is.
I know your brother pretty well because I worked with him at ESPN for several years. And you guys are somewhat similar in nature and personality and aura. When you walk in the room, you're kind of the same to me. You have some different quirks than Sterling has, but still cut from somewhat the same cloth to me in personality, in command, in voice. It's kind of the same to me. This is polar opposite personalities, to the point where I wish I could pour a little bit of LaMelo into Lonzo, just a little bit, because Lonzo, as a rookie, came off as a little overwhelmed and underconfident, right? How many nights did I watch Laker games when Magic had proclaimed Lonzo next? Said, you're going to see his jersey hanging up in the rafters, his number 2. And I said, Lonzo, get involved. You know, he just go stand over on the side and watch the offense go, right? And the target that did get painted on Lonzo's back was as unfair as I've ever seen, because Lonzo came in almost LeBron-like with the hype and the expectation. And Magic, and then LeVar saying he's better than Steph Curry already. And Lonzo had a hard time living up to that. This kid lives in his own world. It's like no one else is in the world except him. So it's like, it's a form of blissful ignorance, not in a bad way, but like he's just wide-eyed. Like, I know I can do this, and he did it. And he was backing it up right away. He's the youngest man in the history of the NBA to have a triple-double at age 19. He went 22, 12, and 11 against Atlanta on January 9th. And night after night, he became must-see for me because he would do, Jordan-esque, he would do something every night where I'd say, whoa, wow.
I think another thing that helped him, Skip, he went clear across the country. Yeah, out there in Charlotte by himself. Charlotte is so far away from L.A. Lonzo went basically an hour from home.
That's rough. And Dad's looking over your shoulder. And this kid, he went to Lithuania. Wasn't it Lithuania?
Yeah, he went to Lithuania.
Australia.
He was in Australia,
And then he's like, I got this. I was born for this.
He had Jello with him, and his dad but when he went to Australia, he by himself.
Well, that'll make you grow up fast, right?
Yes.
So none of this seems to overwhelm him. And I want to congratulate Tyler R. Times, who did the who did the interview for GQ, because it is spectacular. But it sounds like you just pushed the button and he went.
He's just talking. He's talking like a recorder isn't on, and he at home with his homeboys, and he's just talking.
Yep. I didn't love it at the end. He was 2 hours late for his last interview. That won't fly. You got to be on time.
Right.
But that's LaMelo. That's the world he lives in. Yep.
But his coach spoke glowingly about him and what he brings to the table. But I'm happy. Hopefully, Skip, he can get the. That's the next step. can he get the Hornets to the playoffs? That's the next step.
For his owner's sake, I hope so.
No mercy. Saturday, one of the greatest fighters of our generation puts his legacy on the line as Manny Pacquiao battles welterweight world champion Dennis Ugas in the can't-miss title fight of the summer. Saturday, live on pay-per-view. Buy it now on the Fox Sports app and watch it on any screen you want. As LeBron's been... Saturday, one of the greatest fighters of our generation puts his legacy on the line as Manny Pacquiao battles welterweight world champion Dennis Ugas in the can't-miss title fight of the summer. Saturday, live on pay-per-view. Buy it now on the Fox Sports app and watch it on any screen you want. Guys, LeBron's been busy. He's making the most of his offseason. Yesterday, he started his first of 3 workouts at 4:20 a.m. and posted onto his Instagram story just after 6 a.m. that he still had his last 2 to go. The post, of course, gained a lot of attention on social media, seeing how much the King is putting work in. Shannon, are you okay with LeBron posting about all of his workouts?
What is?
Are you okay with it?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. He put his work in.
Here you are.
Skip, here, look, you and others. He about to be 37. He going to year 19. He done lost the step.
Washed.
You know, last time you said that his first year here. Say it was done, and what'd he do? Followed it up with a chip. Y'all said that again. Guess what he about to do? Followed it up with a chip.
Wait, he didn't follow it up last year with a chip.
No, but he followed up with a chip after y'all said that. Then y'all started, quiet, ain't nobody say nothing. He stumbled a little bit, y'all back talking again. He got to silence you again. See, this is a little sample. Now, we ain't showing you all the really good stuff that y'all don't know how I've been able to stay at the top of the mountain for 19. We ain't showing you all that. We show you little balance and stuff, but there's so much more. Man, that's a little sample. When I spend $2 million on my body, come on. That's why I'm able to do this.
Is he the only one who spends $2 million on his body?
Yep.
He is. The only one who stays in peak shape, right? Nobody can compete with LeBron James. I'm going to quote the great Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys from Hard Knocks last night. I don't got to talk about it. I be about it.
I both.
Really?
But yeah, I believe
you got
in
to
both.
talk and be.
Yeah.
Really?
I believe in conspicuous consumption.
Really?
If you have it, flaunt it.
Really? Just once. I'm going to say it again.
No.
I need LeBron to post free throw shooting in the backyard with Bronny. I just made 10 straight free throws, and I'd say I'm impressed with that. For the last 5 years, the great LeBron James has shot sub 70% from the free throw line. That is abominable. That is indefensible. That is disgraceful for a player of his magnitude.
If you don't mind me asking, how many times in those 5 years has this team been in the NBA Finals?
I don't
know. In those
really
last
care.
5 years.
How many points did he leave on the table? He's the greatest driver of the basketball ever, but he runs from the late game free throw line because he's afraid to go shoot those shots standing alone by
As the
himself.
Warriors, do we run from moments?
What did Jordan and Magic always do in the offseason? They always got better at some weakness that
We
they
get
had.
better.
Okay?
Skip, how you think we've been at the top of the mountain for 18 years?
You already bet me he's going to be plus 75% from the free throw line. And do you think he ever practices his free throw shooting? I say a big NO to that.
He practices everything.
He ought to spend $2 million to hire a shooting coach to fix his free throw shooting.
We got Phil Handy. Phil working on our game, too.
Phil is
Mr.
handy,
the real 94 feet.
He is the real 94 feet.
Yeah.
I'm sure he says, LeBron, we got to work on the free throws.
Work on everything. We work on mechanics, the elbow tight, wrist. Yeah.
You know, I just get tired of this.
You're a hater.
You know, I get tempted. I get up at 2 a.m. in L.A. every morning, and I'm on the treadmill without fail at 2:30. So I'm going to start posting that.
You don't need to post
I got to post 2:30 a.m., and then I got to post that after the show today, I'm going to go lift weights. I already did the cardio in the morning. I'm going to go, my workout number 2 starts in 1 hour.
You don't need to do all that.
I need to. I got to show everybody, because I got to talk about it as well as me about it.
What you getting ready for? Who you
I don't know. Get ready for you to dominate.
I got to bust it up. I ain't got nothing. I can't do nothing.
Yeah, well, that's your fault. You shouldn't have played pro football so long.
It is my fault.
Right?
But you know what, Skip? Hold on. Tom Brady does this all the time.
He's gotten a little more of this lately. A little
What about
more. LeBron just lives on social.
Hold on. What about the documentary? When he was up there in, what was he at? Idaho.
Montana.
Montana, yeah. He was up there in Montana.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, He's only won 7 Super Bowls. LeBron's won 4 and lost 6 Super Bowls.
We've been to 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Been to 10 championship. About to go to number 11. Yeah. 5, and we'll have to be 5 and 6.
No mercy. Guys, 2-time All-Star Isiah Thomas was one of 3 players to reportedly work out for the Lakers recently, even getting extended work in with LeBron and Russell Westbrook. Thomas has been attempting a comeback after dealing with a hip injury last season, but says he is 100% ready to go. So, Shannon, how much do you think Thomas could help your Lakers?
Reported they worked out 3 guys, Darren Collison, Mike James from Brooklyn, Skip, and Isiah, IT. Now, we know Mike James never met a shot he didn't like because he was on the court with KD, he jacking up shots.
He was actually pretty good.
He was actually pretty good, Skip. The question is, he says he's all the way healthy because we saw him and he wasn't what he was before he got injured. In Cleveland, he's bounced around all over the league the last 3 or 4 years, Skip. But I believe if he's healthy, I believe he can probably come in off the bench and give you 10, 12 points on a nightly basis. That's the question, Skip. Is he really healthy, though?
Well, he did recently in the Atlanta Pro-Am Summer League. He scored 65 points in a game, so at least that's
81 in one, too.
But that's an indication that he's returning to health. That was career-threatening for a while.
Yeah.
Remember when he got to Cleveland, he wanted to be LeBron's co-star. He was talking big, bad, like, I got this.
Me and LeBron were the same.
No, that's not what happened. So now he's just trying to hang on and make it.
Right.
I am rooting for him. I like him. I used to love him when he was playing for the Celtics.
Right.
And now it's time for him to accept his role and hope that because LeBron likes him.
Right.
And I'm sure Russ likes him enough that maybe they would choose him because it's going to be up to them to choose maybe 2 of these guys.
Right. You say they're going to sign 2 of them.
Yeah.
But if he's healthy, Skip, he might can give them 10 points off the bench.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, guys. That's it for Undisputed. We're back same time tomorrow morning. The Herd is on now with Colin and Joy. Have a great day, everyone.